Hey guys, Rudy here. The clip I'm about to show is from Matt McKinley's February 2023 variety show free voice presentation. And it's going to have something to do with what I want to talk about today, so just bear with me. I'm going to play the clip and then I'll get into it.
I find this inside of 30 seconds. But inversions can and do have opposite meanings. An opposite upside down peace sign, the symbol for nuclear disarmament today, it's also known as the crow's foot, represents global peace today. Okay, as it universally accepted that it does today. Yet it's also called the Nero's Cross. So here we have a whole new conspiracy opening up about the peace sign. Going back to the Roman Emperor Nero, is said to have ordered the execution of the Apostle Peter on an inverted cross, and these are the roots of the peace sign. An upside down or representation of crucifixion. Okay guys, if this was all there was, every single thing of importance in this world has a triple or quadruple level embedded conspiracy, where the real meaning, if you dive into past what Wikipedia or academia says, is something completely different. No real world could hide hidden.
Hey guys, what's up? Rudy here. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, talking about the peace sign, and it first got my attention probably well over a year ago. It was one of this recent free voice presentation that Matt did, reminded me of what I wanted to talk about for a while, which is the peace sign. And he did another presentation about a year ago where he was talking about the peace sign again in some movie. Unfortunately, I don't remember what movie it was, but it's a clip from whatever movie this came from, what I'm kind of zooming in on, where it was a woman at the bleachers, not a woman, but a girl sitting in the bleachers, and she had a upside down man with the peace symbol earrings. Matt had talked about it, making an allusion that it may represent the 7-Eleven job application jumpers. I had sent him an email, a quick email, and talked about it for a minute. This email was like I said, it was over a year ago, where the peace symbol itself may represent or may be the symbol for an airplane, which would be, related to the 7-Eleven part-time job. Let me turn my cursor on. Hold on. There we go. Right here. The airplane symbol, and in a game called Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, that's what it immediately reminded me of as I was watching this presentation. And like Matt said in the clip I just played, there's multiple layers of, I guess you can say, symbolism or conspiracy. But it got a little crazier after that. This was during a time where the Hanging Man tarot card, the Hanging Man symbolism was showing up in my bubble, I guess you could say, in my reality bubble, for like a good month and a half. And the peace sign was something that I just absolutely refused to look up for like a good month. Didn't want to look it up. I had a feeling it had something to do with the Hanging Man, only because not necessarily because of this picture that I'm showing, but I don't know, it was just strange. I should have did the presentation then and there, but it's just, you get bogged down, you get distracted. I've done a lot of presentations since then, so there's just so much to talk about, and it's just hard to keep up with sometimes. But I was going over my notes, and I was like, oh yeah, the peace symbol thing, let me look it up. And back then I looked up the Wikipedia for the peace symbols, and now we got a new breadcrumb to follow, which is the Neros Cross, and we're going to go over that too. I don't know anything about the Neros Cross. We're going to go over the peace symbol Wikipedia, so I can kind of go over what I'm talking about, or what I'm about to talk about, which is just pointing out the synchronicities, the strangeness. Like I said, back then I should have did the presentation then and there, but I didn't. The Hanging Man was showing up as synchronicities just constantly. I remember my wife was watching a Let's Player play some game. I can't remember what. I think it was Gab. Forgot what name she goes by. Gab Schmulders, that was it. I can show her real quick. This girl, this lady. She was doing a Let's Play of some game. And of course, I'm not really watching it. I'm kind of doing my own thing. My wife's watching it. She goes, "Hey Rudy, look what's on the screen. Can you guess what's on the screen?" And I just said, "Is it the Hanging Man tarot card?" She's like, "Yeah, it is. How'd you know?" It's like, I don't know. I just know these things. And I didn't glance up beforehand. Like, it wasn't bullshittery like that. And it was just so funny to me that I just knew what it was, because she knew I was having tarot card synchronicities or the Hanging Man synchronicities around that time. And it's just so funny that I can call it ahead of time. And that happens a lot. It wasn't just the Hanging Man thing. It happens so often where I can just call situations. I can give a quick example again, really quick. This is kind of another funny story. When my wife and I first got married, about a month into our marriage, she comes home with her mother. Her and her mother went out and had a little mother-daughter day. I was sitting at home and they come home and my wife walks in the room and she's like, "Hey, I got you a present." And I just look her dead in the eye and I say, "Is it a kitten?" And she goes, like, "Yeah, how in the world did you guess that?" It's like, I don't know, I just know it's a kitten. It's just shit like that. And it's like, we hadn't really talked about getting a cat up until that point, but it's just little things like that I can just call it ahead of time. That was one of the, this was way back when, guys. My wife and I have been married for 16 years. I mean, the stuff like this has been happening all my life. I just didn't give it much thought until maybe like the past year and a half. But anyway, that's enough rambling for me. Let's get into the peace symbolism. And I'm going to cut out parts that don't matter. And I'm going to read, y'all know how I feel about reading. I'm terrible at it. My voice is already kind of scratchy. Peace sign disambiguation. I can't remember if it's this article or the peace sign disambiguation article that the V sign, commonly called the peace sign. No, it's none of these. And I'm pretty sure it's this. I'm just kind of glancing over. I'll start reading when I find something interesting. Oh, look, I didn't know about this. The broken rifle symbol is used by War Resisters International, WRI, and its affiliates, but predates the foundation of WRI in 1921. The peace symbol, now known internationally as peace symbol or peace sign, or alternatively as a nuclear disarmament symbol, or the C&D symbol, campaign of nuclear disarmament, originates as a symbol representing the threat of nuclear annihilation used in Britain anti-nuclear activism from 1958. I guess 1958 to present. It was widely adopted in the American anti-war movement in the 1960s and was reinterpreted as generically representing world peace. It is still used, however, in its original anti-nuclear context by activists opposing nuclear power. In the 1980s, although the smiling sun image, nuclear power, no thanks, predominated. What is this? Nuclear power, no thanks. So anti-corona symbology already. Like the meta symbology would be, you know, anti-sun or anti-corona, anti-god, right? So there's your anti-god symbology already. At least that's the way I interpret it. Y'all might interpret that in another way, and that's fine. But that's the way I interpret that, as anti-god, you know, yada yada, anti-corona, the crown, right? The crown that Jesus wore, the crown that God wears, whatever you want to consider it. Origin: the symbol was designated by Harold Holtham for the British nuclear disarmament movement. Holtham, an artist and designer, presented it to the Direct Action Committee on 21 February 1958. 2111. Where it was immediately accepted as a symbol for a march from blah 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 Square, London, to the Atomic Weapons Research Establishment at Aldermaston in Brookshire on April 4th. It was the 44. Holtham's design was adapted by Eric Austin, 1922-1999. It's interesting. The ceramic lapel badges. Look, we can talk about these fucking dates all day. I'm gonna try not to bring up the dates all the time, but holy hell. The original design is in the Peace Museum in Bradford, England. The symbol is a superimposition of the flag semaphore for the characters N and D taken to stand for nuclear disarmament. This observation was made as early as April 5th, 1958 in the Manchester Guardian. In addition to this primary genesis, Holtham additionally cited as inspiration Francisco Goya's painting The 3rd of May 1908. Page 88. We're about to talk about this. This is the main reason I want to get into it, but I'm going to finish reading first. I was in despair, deep despair. I drew myself the representation of an individual in despair with hands palm outstretched outwards and downwards in the manner of Goya's peasant before the firing squad. I formalized the drawing into a line and put a circle around it. Okay. Although in the painting the peasant shown has his arms stretched outwards, not downwards. And this is a bunch of crap. This is the main thing I wanted to get into was these Francisco Goya's painting the 3rd of May, 1988 or 1808. You can see it right here. Click on it. There's your peace symbol. But the problem we're running into here is that it was inverted. And I'm going to explain why. Although in the painting, the peasant shown has his arms stretched out upwards, not downwards. Ken Colsbun, a correspondent of Holtum, says that the designer came to regret the symbolism of despair as he felt that peace was something to be celebrated and wanted the symbol to be inverted. Eric Austin is said to have discovered that the gesture of despair motif had been long associated with the death of man, and the circle was the unborn child. So the circle represents a womb, essentially, and the crosshairs or whatever they are, crow's feet, I think Matt said, represents the death of man. The symbol became the badge of C&D, and wearing it became a sign of support for the campaign urges British unilateral nuclear disarmament. An account of C&D's early history described the image as a visual adhesive to bind the Aldermaston March and later the whole campaign together. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so they're admitting here that it was inverted. So we already have upside down symbology, and which is the type of world we live in. I've talked about it before in my previous videos where I say the entire world is upside down. So they took this man right here, they put a circle around him. Put a circle around him, which represents the womb, but they turned it upside down in order to the dumb backstory, right? Since they didn't want it to be they didn't want it to be associated with, I guess, the death of man, quote unquote. Okay, there's your relation, and all you got to do is rotate it, and there's your upside down man. So it's very easy to say it that, to me, it definitely represents the hanging man or the 7-Eleven jumpers. And obviously there's that famous image of very famous image of this. The very, very famous, especially these truther circles, the conspiracy theory circles of the 7-Eleven jumper and the hanging man symbology. So there's your jumper. Rotate this, and there's your upside down peace symbol. Okay, we got that straightened out. That's what I think it is. So to me, it kind of stops there, but Matt McKinley mentioned Nero's Cross, which I hadn't heard of, and we're going to go over that just because I've just never heard of it before. Seems interesting enough. That's pretty interesting that this people ask, Googling Nero's Cross, and right off on the front page, what does the upside down peace symbol mean? Upside down equals trouble. What in the world is this? Yeah, there's a crow's foot. Of course. We got not see illusions. Of course, they just throw that in there. Just more bullshit to distract us, right? More breadcrumbs. So Nero's Cross. And there's a Nero's Cross. An upside down man. Isn't that amazing? Here, let's just Google image Nero's Cross. I don't think I'm going to find much, but I'm going to dig for a little bit before I end this presentation, because I didn't expect to really comment for too long on this. I just wanted to point it out. I got a little free time, so I was like, screw it. The upside down cross, the inversion. The world is inverted, guys. Like, that's what this means. I didn't know the Oldsmobile was Nero's Cross. That's insane. See, it looks like a plane. Looks like a plane taking off. Or flying, rather. Seen from above or seen from below. This is cool, you guys. I'm having a good time. Pentagram. And I think I didn't really think about the circle and the womb symbology until today. So just a little while ago. So again, with the double meanings, the peace sign, it could be Nero's Cross. It's an upside down Nero's Cross. It could be an upside down cross. It could be a plane. It's the hanging man. And I'm getting to the point where what does the peace symbol look? Okay, it's this, right? But it's also that stupid painting, the 3rd May of 1808. This dude. You're upside down, which would be an upside down hanging man. Which is really dumb. But it is what it is. There's your 3rd of May symbology. The man with his arms up. Here. He actually looks like he's on his knees. Let me rotate it again. It's interesting, this earring. It's interesting because this man kind of looks like he's on his knees. Just very telling. See? And if I were to flip it horizontally, it'd look a little better, but I'm not gonna bother. But I think y'all get my point with that. It's just neat. That's the best way I could put it. St. Peter's Cross. So it's also called St. Peter's Cross. It's interesting as well. Creepy hand gestures. Just bullshitting around, guys. If y'all want to cut the video off here, I'm done with the presentation. I'm just gonna browse for a bit. I'll cut parts out to my outro when I'm ready to call it a day. I got some time to kill, so just hang out with me for a minute. I want to know what Nero's Cross is. All right, so we got something here. Basically, this top part says that the myth is that St. Peter requested to be crucified upside down so that he wouldn't be seen on the level of Jesus. He didn't want to be crucified in the manner Jesus was, because he didn't want to put himself up there with Jesus symbolically. And it says right here, during the time when St. Peter was crucified, Rome was under the rule of Nero, one of the most notoriously brutal of all Rome's emperors. During this reign, Nero prioritized the persecution and torture of Christians, believing the removal of all traces of Christianity would bring peace and prosperity to the Roman Empire. In his efforts to suppress Christianity, Nero adopted the symbol of an inverted cross with broken arms, which was meant to symbolize a believed failure and degradation of choosing a Christian path. So basically the peace symbol is an anti-Christian symbol, essentially. According to this Tumblr post, right? This is from Tumblr. It is no wonder that a few spin doctors may have begun to associate an upside-down cross with the crucifixion of St. Peter. In reality, it's highly illogical to believe that the Roman army would have honored a single man's request, especially as said request was supposed to be out of respect for Christ. The Roman army was also known for widely varying methods of torture as well as unusual methods of crucifixion, further killing the idea that St. Peter had anything to do with it. On a side note, you may notice that the neurotic cross bears a striking resemblance to the symbol today we known as the peace sign. Okay, I didn't see this coming. Harold Holtom, the original designer of the peace sign, expressed in interviews that he wanted to avoid equating the movement against nuclear disarmament with religion due to a negative view of Christianity present in Eastern cultures. Really? He claimed that he was inspired by Francisco Goya's peasant before the firing squad, adopting the stance of a person in despair with downward outstretched palms, though when actually looking at the painting, it seems more like a peasant being turned upside down for Holtom's symbol. It's exactly what it is. I could have just read this Tumblr post and it would have been a 5-minute video. Amazing. I didn't know about this. Even so, the peace sign has retained greater social recognition than Nero's Cross, though you will still find adamant Christians that shun Holtom's peace sign, referring to it as a broken cross. I actually had a woodshop teacher back in middle school who wouldn't allow me to paint a peace sign on a wooden plane for this reason. On a wooden plane? Are you fucking kidding me? Thus, the broken cross as well as the inverted cross, which really shouldn't be called St. Peter's Cross, truthfully. It's a nice story and a nice thought, but there's not much to substantiate it. I got lost here. Okay, they're missing oh, I see. Thus, the broken cross as well as the inverted cross has since been associated with a distinctly non-Christian attitude. This could have been a separate sentence. Did a bot write this? Because this part right here got me confused for a second. This needs to be cut out and made into a second sentence. It's freaking dumb, whoever did this. Anyway. Super interesting, guys. So, there's no doubt in my mind now that the peace symbol is a anti-Christian symbol, but that's just me. Like, you can think what you want. What's all the freaking letters though? It's like the alphabet. PQR. Like AI generated. Looks like it says Supwar. This is neat. Like I'm having it's really interesting. I could have just read that Tumblr post right off the bat and been done with it. Zoomed in. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that the peace movement, it would be an anti-Christian, anti-God movement. Just with the symbolism alone. If the artist who made the peace symbol was so afraid that it would be associated with Neros Cross or associated with the crucifixion of Saint Peter or the crucifixion of Jesus, then why even do it and make up this bullshit about this stupid Tres de Mayo, this dumb painting. Not even a good painting. Painting's trash. Get good, kid. Anyway. I don't know, man. It's just a whole lot to digest. We got the hanging man symbology. We got this dude with his hands up. You know, hands up, don't shoot. It's just crazy, you guys. I think I'm done for now. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day.